live martial arts class, you'll discover the secret to using your Japanese bo or Korean jangbong, the long staff, the long martial arts stick. And stay tuned to the end because I'm going to throw this in just a little bit. This is the 3-section staff. You keep asking me about this, and I want you to see that in some ways it's similar to your long staff, but in many ways it's different and unique. And if you learn just a few things to get started with this, you'll keep training and you'll learn how to use the 3-section staff and your regular long staff. But only if you know what you're doing with it first, because I'll tell you, I avoided this thing for years because as soon as I started trying to do the same thing that I do with this, I started whacking myself. So I'm gonna pick this up in a few minutes and show you the first thing I want you to do if you have a 3-section staff or if you have access to a 3-section staff. So we'll put that to the side, and yes, I'm gonna be using the foam padded one today, but we'll work up. I'll show you the one that's made out of wood. Good morning, it's good to see you. I want you to start with this basic move, going one side. Actually, we just started, so you're right on time. And even if you are late, I'm glad you're here. That's what I say. If you're here in person when you come into school and you're a little late for a workout and you say, oh man, I'm so sorry I'm late, I always say, I'm so glad you're here, because it takes effort to get here. And as the teacher, I just want to have some students, so I really appreciate it. I would love to. Unfortunately, at this point in time, with this schedule and schools being closed and me having the kids and stuff, it's really hard to make them on a regular schedule. So I appreciate that. I do want to do that at some point, switch the other hand and get it on a regular schedule so you guys know when I'll be here, but I often don't know. And my goal now today is I have like maybe half an hour to an hour, depending on what happens. And I want to get this in, and G. Carlton keeps asking me different strikes, different things you can do with your Jo, the Japanese middle length staff. So after this one's done, I'm going to grab the Jo. But you've been asking me about this 3-section staff. I don't know what's going on. Is there a new show with the 3-section staff? Yeah, and that was a mistake I made. I hit the wrong button. So I appreciate that. I'm in South Florida right now. Yeah, so the Jo's next. So if we get this one done, we'll get to the Jo. So you're gonna do this 30 seconds on each hand. You wanna build strength in the forearm, flexibility in the wrists. And then I want you to go from one side to the other side. Yeah, that was just me hitting the wrong button. And I do that sometimes when I'm setting it up. I do everything on my cell phone, on the iPhone. And every once in a while, I don't know, I have big chunky thumbs. I must hit the wrong thing and it says, schedule it as a premiere. But I didn't do that intentionally. I didn't do it on purpose. I certainly didn't mean to confuse anybody. And I'm not apologizing, I'm just telling you. I think we say we're sorry too much in this existence, this civilization, right? We apologize for everything now. And most things don't need to be apologized for. You just save your apology for the big stuff. All right, so you're going side to side, and then you're going to go over. Good morning, Vic. We're going to try to get in some of the things on your new belt level, the orange to light blue. But like always, every other workout, we always start and build it up. Yeah, but you know, we're all part of Generation Snowflake to an extent. I've been waking up the last week and a half thinking, if I do the same thing, I'm gonna get the same results, right? If I want different results, I need to take different actions. That means getting out of your comfort zone. All right, and then go the other way. What you're doing is you're just twisting. This is your right hand. It comes all the way up. The left hand's on top, thumb down to the pinky, takes it. The right hand stays right there attached to the wrist, comes right under, makes a shelf. There's your butterfly, comes over the top. Probably get my big chunky watch out of the way too. Let's do that. Always gets a little bit in the way. Good. So we're here. Yeah, and that's why this is such a great martial art. This is a virtual community, right? Virtual dojo. Did you see that? It almost bit me in the eye or hit me in the head. And that's gonna happen to you. Let it go. Let it do it. Yeah, we're doing the Jo next, right after this one. All right, now, in one hand, I'm gonna start with my left hand because I'm left-handed, go into your sideways figure 8. You're going like this. Here's one half of that circle, and then it goes back the other way. So 1, 2, that also carves the infinity sign, which is why we call this the endless spin. So from here to here, and I have it just in front of my body. This is my left hand, my left foot's in front, right side's back. That makes me a smaller target, going side to side. And then I'm gonna step up so my feet are directly under my body. I'm gonna come in and out. I'll try to check that comment in a minute. Somehow I don't see all the comments, they disappear so fast. By the time I get up to see them, all I saw was Saturday. So we come in, we come out to the front and the back of the body, goes into the other hand, and again, this is a forward spin or forward endless spin, carving that sideways figure 8. Make it a little bigger so you can see it. Right foot forward, stomach up and in, abs tight. Gradually increasing once you get the motion in speed. And keep your hand closed. You'll want to open a little bit to pick up more speed, but don't do that. That's a bad habit. When you run into something that comes flying out of your hand, and now you don't have your staff anymore, you got to fight hand to hand. Which means learn also how to fight hand to hand for self-defense. But getting a good habit here, keep that hand closed. See how it's closed, closed. Get flexibility with the hand closed, and then you'll pick up the speed later. Stomach up and in, abs tight, fast, front and back. Go back to the first hand and reverse the thing. Yeah, they are. And but they're like in the Joe staff, you hold it at the end, but it's still the same. I don't have as much room. I'll show you on the Joe thing, but it's the same figure 8 spin from here to here. That's the same strike. I'm also going to show you what's unique about the Joe, because in my mind, the Joe can do almost everything the bow staff can, but it has a whole nother level of really cool stuff that you can do that you can't do with the bow because of the length, which according to history or the story of Musashi, that's why the Joe was born. The Joe was born because the guy who fought Musashi with the bow, the long staff, lost that fight with the famous swordsman because he getting caught up in the trees overhead, and it was too unwieldy, it was too long. So while he went back to the mountain to think about, then he went to the shorter one, right? And it comes up to about his armpit, and now all of a sudden he's able to do things that he couldn't do with the longer staff. Yeah, take your time. Give yourself some time. It'll get there. It might not be in 2 or 3 months. Maybe it's 5 months, 6 months. But if you keep going in the same direction, you'll get there. All right, so you're going to reverse this spin, pulling with the small side. So remember you carved that sideways, the 2 circles. Now you just carve it back in the other direction using your pinky, pulling and pulling. And if you know about sword, like these are all downward strikes, or even Kali, Eskrima, or knee sticks, downward strikes, right? And these are all upper strikes, deflection blocks and strikes. So if you start to pull and pull, bringing it up this way, now you're in a reverse spin. It's in front of your body, stomach up and in, your hand is closed, step up, feet under your body, and reverse it here to the front and the back. Bring it into the other hand, pulling, and you can test yourself. You can go back into a forward spin and then stop that and reverse it to make sure that you're doing both directions. If not, sometimes you trick yourself and you think you're going in reverse, but you did some weird twist over here and you're really back into a forward spin. It feels like a reverse spin, but it's not. So stop it and then pull. Make sure you really have a reverse spin, and then to the side. And if you want to make progression here, if you want to make it a little harder, do it lower, right? Try not to hit the camera again. Do it lower, go to the middle, bring it up, go all the way down, let it travel while you're practicing. You're gonna feel it really starts to work here, starts to work here, starts to work here, and now you'll get stronger. But only do this when you're ready. Once you have this, and this feels easy, and you want it to be a little harder, because you know you can only grow outside of your, squat, right? There's your adaptation. Bend your knees. So your ceiling's low, squat. no one's watching you, who cares? And even if they do, all they are learning is that you're learning how to get better faster. But get outside of your comfort zone and then you'll start to grow. All right, now here, go over the wrist and bring it back. Over the wrist, hello, and bring it back. Driss Allison, well, happy birthday. Bring it back. July is a good month for a birthday, I think. Bring it here, and bring it back. And when you drop it, pick it up. Here. See, all you're really doing is you're going up to the thumb side, right? Then you open your hand, allow the momentum to let it rest, and then turn it fast, catch it. Turn your hand fast is what I mean. But this is the key. You have to be still moving and relaxed. And then once you're getting the basic motion, start to go a little faster, a little faster. Happy birthday on Wednesday. Yeah, my father was a Cancer. His birthday was July 5th. It just passed. My brother just passed on the 6th. It's not supposed to be a morbid joke. It just popped in my head. Anyway, comes here. Yeah, it's good to see you. Here. One. My wife works out of her boss's house every once in a while, and it's hot down here in Florida. And she brings the chickens in to the kitchen. My wife's always sending me pictures. She's working and the chickens are walking around. I don't know if it's hot where you are, if you have to bring the chickens inside so they don't burn up. So it goes over the back of your wrist, back of the wrist, one side and then the other side. A little bit faster when you're ready. This is kind of a level 2 skill. And now level 3, the finger roll. And the finger roll is so good because it opens up your hand. It fires the extensors. Those are the muscles that open your hand. And usually most of the things you're doing with the staff, your hand is closed. So getting this extensor work in is really good for the health and the strength of your hand, your wrist, your fingers, your forearm. It goes all the way up into your neck. So you're bringing it here. Yeah. I love North Carolina. Especially the swamp, right? I remember one time I was lying in and practicing the ambush at the Marine Corps base there in Jacksonville. And looked down at my watch. I had a military-style watch and like this. And haven't moved for like 8, 12 hours or whatever. And I see this line. It looks like a string. And I think that's a string. That's a string to a black string. Didn't match anything else except the watch. I went to touch it and pull it off. And it moved. And they were ticks. They were crawling all up inside everywhere. I was lying in a bed of, all right, so this is the continuous finger roll. Thank you. Just got off on a tangent there. There were ticks. Took me a while to get rid of all of them. Now, pine needles. Don't lie down in a bed of pine needles, right? If you're in North Carolina, you know that. You have these 3 fingers. Between the ring finger and the pinky finger, it's going to go over the back of the first 3 fingers, kind of like that did on the wrist roll when you balanced it there. But now you're here. Your thumb's going to grab it to continue the spin. So this is a 3-finger roll, which is different than the continuous finger roll with a thumb assist. And that's I don't know if that's the official name. If you go, by the way, bow staff means staff. I know some of you have seen that many times. Good. Use your broom handle. From here, or a mop, or a sanding pole, or a painter's pole, or a rake. Pretty much anything that's long. Or grab a stick out of the woods, right? Yeah, this one's heavy. This is definitely a heavier one, and it's really burning up the forearms here. But you want to do that. Work up to it if yours is heavier. And I like one that's a little bit thicker diameter. Let me grab it real quick. I just wanted you to see this. So this is graphite. It's thin, and these are the ones when you see like karate tournaments and you see guys like Jackson Rudolph is a big one. But who was the big star? He was in Twilight. Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner was on the circuit for a long time, and he did this weapon. Scott Adkins is another one. Actors that were longtime martial artists. And the graphite, it's super light, right, Vic? Super light, they're fun, and they go extremely fast. You can get these going wicked, wicked fast. And so it's a little bit different variation of technique, but the same kind of techniques that you do with the other ones. So then this one is the rattan. And with the rattan, it shakes. It's also super lightweight. Ask Vic. Vic will tell you. Vic, how long before you feel really comfortable and confident? If you do a little bit every day, 3 to 5 minutes, that's it. So this one, definitely lighter. This is red oak. Yeah, not long at all. It's all about whether you do it consistently. And you got to get your ego out of the way. Allow yourself to stink at it at first. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly at first. People got that saying wrong when they said anything worth doing anything worth doing is worth doing well. It's wrong, because everybody has to start somewhere. And if you don't have a natural talent, you're going to struggle first. But you really want to do it. So anything worth doing is worth struggling at first and getting your ego out of the way, because that's the only way to grow. So this one is red oak. It's heavier than this one. Usually red oak isn't heavier if they're the same length and the same diameter. But this thing right there, see how thick that is? It's all right. It's your birthday. Consider it a birthday gift to struggle, because without struggle, there's no growth. But this is great, because then that really opens the hand. But this 3-finger roll, I want you to get really good at going 3 fingers and then grabbing it with that thumb. 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, thumb, and then get it going again. And Vic, I want you to do this as part of that next level. And then I want you to be able to do your figure 8. This is a level 2 thing, going wrist roll to wrist roll. And what it is, I'll show you from the side. Figure 8, when it's over here on the same side of the body, and the forward spin, it's going over the pinky side. When you turn and you're doing the figure 8, and it comes to the inside of your body, it's coming over the thumb side. So pinky side, thumb side, pinky side, thumb side. You should be able to do that on both hands. And this is where you need the time to do it. So this is the wrist roll over the thumb side, and then you go into the figure. This is the figure 8, in front of the body. We call it a sideways figure 8 because you're carving that figure 8 or the infinity sign. When it comes on the inside of the body, it's going over your thumb. Sometimes and use that other hand. See how I pop that hand in there to catch it, keep it from hitting me or hitting the floor. Allow yourself to do that until you get it. And just maybe that's why it's so frustrating still. Finger rolls, continuous finger rolls to your thumb. So wrist rolls are yellow belt to orange belt, right? Wrist roll, wrist roll. Orange to light blue, continuous finger rolls, and then that 3-finger, 1, 2, 3, and then it comes here over the back of the finger. And then, just like when you do this infinity, this is level 2 yellow belt, wrist roll to wrist roll. Level 3 orange to blue is going to be wrist roll, finger roll. And that's that 3-finger roll. Wrist roll. And this is all for building your skill in bow flow, or bow, what do they call that? Freestyle, flow arts. This is basically the same thing. Yeah, unless they're easy to get. If you can get a bow staff, get a bow staff. When I was a kid, you couldn't get a bow staff unless you made one. Yeah, get whatever you've got, whatever you can get. Start with one. That'll get you excited because you're starting to train it and learn every day. And then when you're ready to go up, then you have the skills that you can use with your new bow staff. So you do your finger roll, let me see from the other side, wrist roll on the inside of the body, finger roll on the outside of the body. Wrist roll, finger roll. Now, I said I was going to show you the 3-section staff. I'm going to show you that right here before we get into the strikes with the bow staff. Because a lot, and you can strike when you're holding this. There are lots of strikes, and you do a lot of things simultaneously. You do, just whack yourself, do things simultaneously with this, but people are intimidated. They see this and they see people doing it and they're like, I gotta get a 3-section staff. And then they get one and then they start to spin it. And then it's like flipping all like that because and you can. I gotta get my momentum going, right? Get that momentum going, and then you can see, and you can spin it over your head, and it's the same thing when you squat, trying to hit everything in here. But that's what makes sense. It's like, oh, I need to use it in the same way, but you don't. You don't really. You can use it in some of the same ways. But I want to show you the very basic thing first. And if we think about this if I take this one out, this is just 2 really long nunchucks, right? And so with a nunchuck, you have this outer orbital spin to the outside of your body. You just hold on to the other side. You can lock it in, and you just have this. Let me see if I can show you from the side. It's just a spin to the side. I can face you, and I can spin it this way. And it looks like, trying to slow it down so you can see. And on this one, it's not, you're never gonna hold it here. And you're gonna find out why, because this is gonna weigh a lot, especially with the wood ones. You get your thumb stuck in there, that can rip that thumbnail right off or cut into your skin. So you're always gonna give yourself a little bit of room there. Because the weight here, now you have a lot more leverage. This weighs a lot more, and in that way, it's very different than the nunchuck. So this is just a real basic, menacing move, right? And this is something I feel is extremely important when we talk about martial arts. There's some things that are really cool to the eye, aesthetically, the way they look. They're very pleasing, or they have an esoteric. They have like they can build parts of your brain. They're artistic. They're interesting. They're fun to do, but they're not always practical in self-defense. This is a very effective weapon if you know what you're doing, but it takes a long time to learn and a long time to learn well. Yeah, we can do katana. I love the katana. We'll start you with a bokken. I have a link below if you want to go and look at the martial arts website. Definitely get a bokken first. All right, so you have this outer orbital, and then you also have the inner orbital. And then you can put it together, and now all of a sudden, you're doing the same thing you would do with nunchucks, right? A spinning weapon. And you have this one here and this one here. And the fact is, there are more things in common with the nunchuck in this weapon than with the long staff in this weapon, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, and I'm not a kung fu sifu. I'm not a sifu. And this is definitely more common in the Japanese or the Chinese style martial arts. In fact, the wushu guys, I think, use this the best. But wushu is really pretty awesome. Think Jackie Chan, think acrobatics, but don't think MMA. Don't think practical street fight self-defense. Don't think boxing and defend yourself. Not that there's no value there, but just understand what it is. It's like the Kung Fu Fan. I do some videos on the Kung Fu Fan. Some people really love it. Some people really don't. But it's the same thing. It's like super cool, fun to watch, hard to learn, some of it. But is it going to be as effective as a Japanese Joe? And definitely not. All right, so that's one thing. If you have one of these, the first thing I want you to learn is hold it like this, and you're gonna practice this basic spin. And it's gonna take you a while, and you can change your hand. You have this underhand grip. You can also change to this overhand grip, and it's the same spin. And you should learn how to do both. and you're gonna feel. It's really gonna work your arms, it's gonna work your forearms, it's gonna work your chest. It's gonna give you it's a lot of fun to do, but this is the starting point. Once you're done with that one, switch it back over to there and do the same thing. Yeah, let me show you that real quick. It's a toothpick staff. It looks like a gigantic toothpick, right? It's thick in the middle and it tapers at the end. Now you can get these, this is a kid version, it's extremely light. But you can also get these in a thicker version. And it's more Japanese in style. And they're really thick, and then it comes down and it gets a little tapered, but it's still pretty thick, and they're extremely durable. If I hit this against that with just a little tap, this thing right here in my hand, this will break, because it's designed for a kid to build their confidence when they're really little, so they can learn how to move a staff, and the other one is gonna just be too heavy for them, and that's why we don't use it. But if you have a tapered bow, or you wanna get a bow, and it's not all one diameter, don't be afraid of it. That's good too. Yeah, they're on there. They're definitely on there, because that's where I get most of these. Go with rattan first, and don't be afraid of the rattan. It doesn't have to be oak. The rattan is gonna be extremely durable, and it hits really, really hard. You can do that too. Or white, if you want the white, you're not gonna get white oak on there, because the price point's way, way higher. These are all handmade. But get the white, white ash maybe. I forget what it's called. White waxwood or something like that. They're gonna be a little bit more flexible, but that's good when you first start out, because you're gonna be able to practice like that. Now let's talk about basic strikes. You have two ways to hold your staff, because you only have two hands, and they're either gonna be facing out or they're gonna alternate. And if they're facing in too, right? If they're like this, they're always like this, or they're gonna be like this. And this can change to this. Now Vic, this is next level. This is orange belt to light blue. You're gonna learn how to walk your hands. So this is just practice. After you do like warm-up spins, you do all your spins, your figure eights, and your butterflies, then start like this and just practice like this. 1, 2. And the reason is, when you strike here and you step, sometimes you're gonna do that same strike on the other side, and you're gonna come back here, and you're here, and you wanna be really quick and really fast without dropping your staff, and the ability to defend yourself by switching your hands. Yes, in addition to spinning it, this is still gonna be a valid transfer. You can still do this, but this is very traditional. And if you're fighting for self-defense and you have to get in this position fast, and you don't want to risk a spin, which you can do because you're getting really good at it, right? Then you want to just learn how to very quickly change those hands, get back into that tight grip. So we have two strikes, or two ways to hold the staff on the strike. One is like you're doing push-ups. I like to teach this first because it's very basic, very easy. Then you're going to punch. Just think about coming straight in to the face, hitting them right here in the temple, breaking the jaw, hitting them in that neck, busting them in the arm. Maybe they're reaching out to grab, smashing their wrist, smashing their hand, and that's just this straight punching strike. And notice when I come in, I don't stop it here, which means his head is here. He's coming at me. He's coming straight in, my opponent. So I'm gonna go to his head and through, right? So always follow through. Make sure you're striking. And when you bring it in, it stops here. Yeah, follow through is so important, especially when we talk about street fight self-defense. You're fighting with a matter of principle and not necessarily technique. So this would be the technique, but the principle would be, the fourth principle, by the way, is commitment and follow through on that strike. Like every strike for street fight self-defense, you're trying to do to end the fight in that moment. So get into the habit. Once you warm up, practice here, and then hard and fast, hard and fast, hard and fast. Make sure that you're following through. First to the head, and then that same strike down to the knee. 1, 2, or the lower level. So this is your first 2 basic strikes. Yeah, I know. I've seen it. I'm impressed too. That's because you're working a little bit every day, and that's the key. People underestimate what they can do in a short time, and they underestimate or they overestimate. You know what I mean? They think like, I'm gonna make this kind of a leap because I'm gonna go 10x, but you don't do it that way. You just do a little bit every day, and it accumulates and compounds. Accumulates and compounds. That means you get a little bit better every day doing the same amount. You're doing it at a higher level, just like interest on your savings account or your retirement. That's why you must invest as soon as humanly possible when you're a young person, a young man or a young woman. They offer you the 401k plan, 403b, the IRA, whatever it is. You start putting money in it and forget about it. And then it grows and it compounds. Your money makes money. And people underestimate that all the time. It's so cliche, right? But it's the same thing with exercise and with learning martial arts, is that you're a different person today than you were last week. So even if you just do the same percentage of work, the same amount of work, you're doing it in a different place. You're stronger, you're faster, you're better, you understand more, and that's how it compounds. And that's why you're getting so good so fast, Vic. And then for the rest of you, that's the same thing, right? So we have these downward strikes, and then I want to show you this. Change your grip. From here, that same type of strike, but think of this angle here. Remember you said katana? Think about that same kind of katana strike, sword strike, right? Coming down, forehead to cheek, coming through on the neck, the clavicle, the arm. They're reaching, they're trying to grab, smash it just straight down. So this is a second level strike. First level, palms like push-up. Second level, alternating grip. So you have it down here and then straight across. By the way, if you want to see the levels, check the link below. I think it's on my website. But you bring it down here and it comes across. That's 2 separate strikes. Strike 1, strike 2. 1, 2. And then a spearing strike, right? Spearing here, and you can go straight in. You can also turn. These are just variations of the same thing. Ask me again, I missed that one. So straight and turn. Also a variation of that, I call it the pull cue. It's like you're playing pool, right? From here, come straight in. No, eventually, yes. If you're doing kata, and I say, here's the kata, you have to have front stance, back stance, then yes, it matters. But when you're defending yourself, it's like on the street fight, right? As long as you have good footing, and you know how, and you move in, you move out, you know how to move to the side without crossing your feet, you know how to step in at an angle and move around. That's way more important than long front stance, long back stance, horse riding stance. Those are all valid stances, but they're like, the purpose of them is to build power in your legs. Maybe if you were in a kung fu movie and you had to fight another kung fu guy or karate, right? And everybody's doing the same thing, and you're all doing those stances, then it does matter. And yes, if you do the stances right, you have better grip on the floor, you're solid, you're extremely strong, but you've also lowered your center of gravity, and it's harder to move in this position. And there's a proper way to move, which is to stay low the whole time. And that's traditional, right? When we're talking about the staff, it's very important to me that you learn 2 things really well. One is freestyle. Just whack my knee. Freestyle so that you can do different things with your staff. Let me grab the other one. So you're coming in, turning, right, flipping, going behind your back, dropping it over and over again, picking it up, behind your back, whip it out, bring it up, over your head, bring it back to whatever that is, freestyle. But the second one, okay, I'd love to do that. I have 4 channels, but I have a second channel where I'm starting to, it's a variation, and it's small things. What you're still doing at this level, for example, is you look down. 2 reasons. 1, you're thinking. Whenever you look down, you're thinking. 2, and it's not a criticism. It's just your confidence is growing. Your hands are a little bit wider than they should be. They should be tighter. And the same thing on the strike. And the power in the strike is really what's different at the black belt level. So it's not that they're different techniques. There are some things like these blocks, blocking up, blocking down, blocking up, There's some circular things that you haven't learned yet that become more important at the higher level. And just because, we go from big pieces to small pieces, right? It's like, think of if you were to sculpt a piece of marble. You chunked off the big stuff first, and then as they get closer and closer to the final piece, they start to refine. Smaller chisels, little pieces of sandpaper, and then everything becomes more clear and more defined at the very finest point. And that's what the black belt is. It's mastery of the basics, but it's this mastery that keeps coming into the very, very smallest piece. And out here, it's hard to see because all of a sudden, and you're this big chunk of marble, and you've learned how to knock off all these things. Now, you see the face, you see the eyes, you see the arms, the legs, you see the body appearing out of this stone, and it looks like a body. It looks like it's supposed to, and it's exciting, right? But it's that refinement where you put the eyelashes in, and the eyebrows, and you put the little wrinkles on the lips, and see what I mean? It's that small, like, refinement. Yes, good point. I have about 700 videos. I have 1,000 videos. I think 600 or 700 on the bow staff. And in a lot of the older ones, when I had more time, I did slow down and I changed the angle a lot. So maybe I can look for some of those and put them in there, but I can show you that too. All right, so downward strike, across, pushing in, and then Vic, you need to be able to do this one and this one, right? And think of what your targets would be. It's all about targets. Striking here, you can strike behind you, you can strike to the front, and then putting them together. So I want you to know two things as you go higher and higher, and that's freestyle and flow, the ability to move and to allow the staff to do all kinds of cool things, put it up over your head, behind your back, all that stuff, and then also how to, in a very practical, it's funny, I grabbed the wrong one, but a very practical, simple way, how to put the staff between you and the threat's right here, between you and the threat, and then make them have to come around it, right? How to strike, how to defend, how to punch through, bring it down on top, in a very practical way. How to fight one person without a staff, one person with a knife, one person with a staff, two people, right? And not just because it looks cooler to fight two people or whatever, but in real practical ways. Nice, yeah, use that. You practice on that metal pole, but practice light, don't break your stick. Get really good. And even if you don't have something to hit, like a bag, striking in the air is gonna get you a stronger strike. But Vic, level 3, orange to blue, probably, it really depends on what it is. I would use both to get a feeling for it. Especially with a bag, you can do a lot of your spearing motions, and it's gonna come back in, it's gonna jar you a little bit. And so you feel for how that's gonna push you back, and then onto that padded pole for some of these angular strikes, because it doesn't move, right? So you use both because they each have their own value and benefit. Good, shovel handle is perfect. I was doing some shoveling the other day, 2 weeks ago maybe, and I was spinning that shovel all over the place. You gotta pay attention though, if it still has the shovel on it, you don't hit yourself and take your skin off. So Vic, strike, practice your strikes, and then change your grip with a step. Practice the same strikes over here, take a step, put the other foot forward, and change it like this. Strike, whatever your techniques are, maybe push behind you, push to the front, to the side, take a step, and then change your grip. It's this, hitting yourself, yeah, that hurts, like this, and adding some strikes in. This will be a little bit higher. You can do this. This is always 1, 2, like the yellow belt, right? 1, 2, practice that way. 1, 2, 3, and then learn how, well, I just skipped a little bit. This is coming up. All right, I have to run. We're gonna do Joe staff next. It's not gonna be right away, it's gonna be a little bit later today, but Joe staff, because you keep asking me, and what you can do. Yeah, let me show you something that I found recently about the sweaty hands. And it's funny, it's like 103 degrees or whatever down here with the humidity, or the way it feels, or 109 or something. And so I sweat a lot here. You can see when this dries, it'll be white all over from the salt in my sweat, which is really fun, really cool. Bow staff or underhead? Yeah, I'm gonna show you the answer to that. So, you mean up here or behind the neck? I would learn both. Learn how to do both. Okay, hold on. Let me find that real quick for you, Vic. Hold on. So where's your... We just kind of, we found this. It used to be this big. My daughter uses this every day because she has bars here. She gets to practice her gymnastics, and it gets really sweaty here, right? And I was cleaning it up because these things make such a mess. You see all that? Yeah. So, but it's like, it's the same chalk you would use if you were lifting heavy weights, or if you were climbing a rock, or if you're doing gymnastics. And what happens is it absorbs all of that and it makes your hands tacky again, not sticky, but tacky, so that you can keep going. And I got that one, $4.99, free shipping with Prime on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, go to my link below, it might pop it up right there. Do you guys understand what he's asking? Anybody else pick up on that? Above head or under head? Is that a translation thing? Anybody? Are you talking about spinning it overhead? And are you talking about going behind the back and over the head? All right, we'll figure it out. Yeah, chalk. So get the chalk at I mean, you can grind up the chalk, but that's, I mean, it's $5. And I think they have it cheaper there, like $2.99. And it's a bag. We've had that now for 6 months and use it almost every single day. Let me show you one more thing, and then I gotta go. Here's what I want you to do, Wilson. Take it in your hand, go behind your back, and bring it out. Put it over your head and turn it. Now, when we warm up, we start like this. One hand, and it transfers to the other hand, or passes to the other hand, just simply by putting the hands together, pinky to pinky. So do this first. Do this for about 30 seconds. Then, put it in your right hand and take it behind your back. Let me turn around. Now, I'm just grabbing it under my pinky. Yes, Silambam. Kiripati, right? Silambam is the most common one. It's from the Tamil region, and it is the birth of all martial arts staff. I think, I don't know, I wasn't alive back then, right? But this is more Silambam, right? And this is spinning. And someone asked me, is it good? Is it effective for self-defense? And the answer is absolutely. You have a big stick in your hand, and you can create a lot of power through these strikes. And this spinning like this is really striking, and then striking. And the cool thing, anytime you spin a staff in one direction, when you turn around the other way, it's automatically going in the other direction. So if you want to do, and this comes up later in the curriculum, Vic, if you want to do some Silambam, put your hands together on your staff, go to the middle first, learn how to do a two-handed spin like this. Yes. And here's what we're starting to see now. When you watch movies now, these movie directors hire fight directors or stunt directors or martial arts stunt directors or whatever they want to call them. They have different titles in most movies. And now almost all of these stuntmen and women and choreographers, they have access to all these different styles because the world is so small because of the internet. And to keep movies exciting and fun to watch, they're starting to weave all these different styles together, which is why when I teach the staff, I'm teaching Chinese style, Indian style at a higher level, and Japanese style and Korean style. And even there's a little bit of the Filipino style, which have a couple of just really small variations in those moves. I don't know, I like the sword because it's an elegant weapon and it takes a long time to master even the basic level. I like this because it's so fun to pick up and I can move it and I can have it anywhere. I can take it with me anywhere I go. Any long stick I pick up is one of these. So yeah, so the point is, when you look at this curriculum, and the link's below if you want to go look at the curriculum, pasquinale.com, or you can send me an email, info@quantumstrong.com. Ask me the questions. But the reason we're doing all these blended styles, it's like the birth of UFC, MMA. MMA came along at a time when all the karate guys thought that they could kill somebody with one punch. They can't. All the Wing Chun guys thought Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch would kill somebody. It cannot. The Kung Fu guys thought that their monkey style and their Shaolin North style or whatever was gonna beat everything. Cannot, right? What happened was the Gracies came around, they started grappling everybody to the ground, choking them out, arm barring them. No matter how good they were with kicks and punches, they couldn't defeat the Gracie guys. But then it turned a little bit when a really good boxer or kickboxer who knew how to throw some punches could catch him on the chin and knock him out. So then they all the martial artists, good martial artists, learn how to do standing, fighting, striking, some kicks, some elbows, some knees. And then they also learn how to sprawl, how to get on the ground and get back up, how to get in the guard, how to get in the half guard, how to fight from the bottom, how to fight from the top. And so you learn how to do all that stuff. And the same is true with this. I carry a machete in the back of the truck. Machete is just like a short sword, right? I don't carry it to fight with, I carry it to cut weeds and stuff. But I always have, I love using a machete and practicing with it in martial arts. All right, Wilson. One, bring it out, hand up, take it, and the other hand, bring it out. So behind the back, over the head, and I'm having to back up a little bit. I'm running into the wall. Over the head, behind the back, over the head. That's all I'm doing. To take it over the head, behind the back, all I'm doing, I just pull it out, and then go the other way. Behind the back, and over the head, behind the back, and over the head. And that's also going to be really good for your shoulders because it stretches you out a little bit. Let me know when you get that. We'll add to it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my links if you have time.